ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਜਗਰਾਜਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਇਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਖਿੱਤਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਅਜਿਹੇ ਗਰੁੱਪਸ ਅਤੇ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਲਾਈ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਅਜਿਹੇ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਨਾਲ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਪੱਧਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਲਾਈ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਇਹ ਉਲੀਕਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। Katerina, welcome to our studio.
Thanks for having me.
So People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA. What is this organization all about? What principle you have? What do you do for animals?
So we are the world's largest animal rights organization, and we operate under the principle that animals are not ours to be used in any way, whether for clothing, food, entertainment, or any other reason.
So what kind of programs do you have? What do you do for animals?
So my job as a campaigner is to organize protests all over the country, and we work on a variety of issues, from encouraging people to go vegan, to ending the use of animals in experimentation, to making sure that people are wearing only vegan clothing that no animals had to die for.
So where are your headquarters? Are you based? I know PETA is all over the world. You have different affiliations with different countries, but where is it originated and where are the headquarters?
So we are a United States-based organization with our headquarters in Norfolk, Virginia, but I work out of the Los Angeles office in California.
So when you say that animals are not for us to use, so does PETA say that animals should be left in wild and people should not keep them as pets as well?
Absolutely. I mean, in the ideal world, people might not have animals as pets, but the reality is we've bred tons of dogs and cats. In the United States alone, 4 million dogs and cats are euthanized due to lack of homes. So we're not telling people that they're not allowed to have animals because we created this problem, but we encourage responsible animal care, like spaying and neutering your pets, making sure that they are healthy, taking them to the vet, and never buying from a breeder, always adopting from a shelter.
So PETA has lots of programs going on. Just to mention one, Go Vegan, which is a very famous one. What is the program all about?
So in 2019, there's no reason to eat animals anymore. We have so many delicious alternatives for milk, cheese, meat, really everything that you can think of. Animals suffer immensely on factory farms, and they're always destined for terrifying trips to the slaughterhouse. So we like to spread that message in creative, eye-catching ways and let people know that being vegan is really the only way that you can make sure that you're not hurting animals with your diet.
So how much do you think you have been successful so far in this campaign?
PETA has been an organization for over 35 years at this point, and we've seen incredible changes, even just in the last few years. A&W here in Canada now has the Beyond Burger, which is a delicious vegan plant-based burger patty. We're making progress all the time.
So what exactly you do? Do you approach people? Do you have advertisements? I know you have lots of big names attached to PETA. So how do you address people? How do you convince them?
We have to get creative because facts and figures alone aren't enough to grab people's attention usually. So we have ad campaigns with celebrities. I organize protests, so sometimes we'll do something like have a giant plate prop laying on the ground with a nearly nude volunteer laying on it. Covered in barbecue sauce or something, to help people make the connection that the animals on their plates were individuals just like us. They feel pain and fear and they want to live.
So you just mentioned about the ad. There is lots of controversies associated with different ads of PETA as well. So what is it all about?
It's just an eye-catching way to get people's attention. We can sit here and stand on the street and tell people over and over that animals suffer on factory farms, that they live in intense confinement in filthy conditions, and they're shipped in all-weather extremes on a truck just to have their throat slit while they're still fully conscious. But people aren't going to stop and look at that. When we have a nearly naked woman laying on the street or in an ad, that gets people to stop and talk, and it makes them realize that animals aren't so different from us. They feel pain and fear, love and joy, and in so many basic ways, we are the same.
So on one side, you just protect the rights of animals, but in your own shelter, the PETA euthanizes. The stats show that around 90% of animals in your shelters are euthanized. How do you justify that?
Peta works with the local community around the Norfolk, Virginia office to provide services for people to make sure that their animals are taken care of. A lot of people leave their dogs chained up with heavy chains in their backyards all day and provide no toys or shelter or any kind of warmth during the cold winter months. So we offer dog houses, we offer hay for free at no cost. We have volunteers that go out and work with these people and develop relationships. So we do offer euthanasia as a service to the community because it's incredibly expensive and it's not available to a lot of people. So when people bring their animals to us who are in desperate need of veterinary care, we offer euthanasia as a painless release from their suffering.
But there are many people throughout Canada and America who want to adopt animals. Don't you think it would be a better idea to just give that animal to some family and he can have a life rather than euthanizing him?
Oh, absolutely, which is why we transfer all of our adoptable animals to the local SPCA.
There's a specific question of Indian movie makers, so I want to discuss about that. Peta is misused, they say, because Indian history is very period. So when movie makers want to make some movie on a period drama or they want to tell some history, they use animals like horses and other animals. At the time when they have to get clearance from censor board, at the same time they have to get clearance from Peta as well. So they're very demotivated. What do you want to say about that?
I mean, in 2019, we have so many incredible technologies to do CGI. When you look at movies like The Jungle Book, which was a huge Hollywood blockbuster and had incredible CGI, there's no reason to make animals perform. Human actors have the choice to participate in the film industry, but animals do not. And they're often trained under the threat of punishment, and off-screen they're kept in horrible conditions. So there's really no reason to do this. We have the technology, we don't need to. And of course we encourage people to make whatever movies they want, as long as no animals are hurt in the process.
The ethical treatment of animals is an amazing idea, I totally get that. But there are countries in this world where human beings are ill-treated. Don't you think PETA needs to address those issues first? I know it's an animal organization, but human beings are also animals. So don't you think PETA should address those issues first before going to animals?
Widening your circle of compassion is beneficial for everyone. And the reality is, with issues like climate change, the destruction of the rainforest for cattle grazing land, animal rights and human rights are intrinsically tied. It's important that we are able to highlight these issues. And of course, we would never stop anyone from helping humans. This is just our cause.
Coming to Canada, Canada Goose is a big brand and PETA has been fighting with them for quite a while. What is the main issue with them?
Canada Goose continues to sell jackets lined with coyote fur and stuffed with down feathers, despite knowing how coyotes are violently killed and skinned and how geese are fully conscious when their throats are slit and they're dragged through scalding hot water to remove their feathers. And we're encouraging Canada Goose to embrace non-animal fabrics like popular retailers such as Hoodlam, Wuxley Movement, Noise, and Save the Duck. So
you just recently had a protest against them as well. How did it go?
It was great. We had about 24 people show up. We protested outside Canada Goose CEO Danny Reese's home in Toronto, and we did some chanting. We had some fur that had been zipped off from Canada Goose coats. When people realized how cruel the production process was, they donated their fur to animal sanctuaries and local animal groups. So we used that as kind of an eye-catching prop. But it was really positive. How much successful do you think you have been so far in tackling them? This has been an ongoing campaign, and Danny Reese and Canada Goose are dragging their feet. But it's 2019. There's no reason to kill animals for clothing anymore. And with luxury retailers like Versace and Gucci and others dropping fur, Canada Goose is really being left in the dust. I'll be right back after the break. ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹੋ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। So before going on break, we were talking about Canada Goose. How long you have been fighting with them for? Canada Goose has been a target of PETA's for several years now. In 2016, we released a video investigation of a Canada Goose down supplier that revealed frustrated workers cramming terrified geese into wire cages for transport to slaughter. And the geese were left without food or water for up to 24 hours in these crates.
We remember our Prime Minister also came under fire from Peta for wearing that Canada Goose jacket. Want to discuss something about that?
Fur is never acceptable to wear, and it's disappointing to see someone with such a large platform promoting clothing that came from terrified, slaughtered animals. Canada Goose uses coyote fur that is wild caught, which means coyotes are in the wild and they're trapped in steel leg clamps, body gripping traps, head crushing traps, or neck snares, where they can suffer for days with their injuries, blood loss, and often die from exposure, starvation, or dehydration. If the coyotes happen to still be alive by the time the trapper comes back, if they haven't been eaten by other predators or died from their injuries, the trapper typically shoots them in the head or beats them, bludgeons them, or strangles them.
There are many programs of Canadian government that allow hunters to hunt. Do you have any lobbyists to get your message across the government?
We do have lobbyists. We always work with legislators to make sure that they're passing laws to protect animals. Animals have very little legal protection, unfortunately, and the laws that they do have are typically poorly enforced, at least in the states. So we do work on protecting animals from a variety of ways, whether it be campaigning on the streets to having ad blitz campaigns to working with lawmakers.
Are there people who say if animals are left in the wild, then it will also affect the food chain? What are your thoughts on that?
The food chain is a natural phenomenon, and if nature is left alone, things will balance out naturally. We don't need to interfere by killing deer or predators like coyotes and wolves, because everything balances out eventually.
So Peta encourages people to go vegetarian. How much successful do you think you have been so far?
It's been great. I'm vegan. I went vegan from getting a Peta leaflet when I was walking around in Los Angeles. A lot of people recognize that animals are killed for food, but they have the luxury of not having to think about it, because by the time the food ends up on their plate, they're so disconnected from the process. They don't realize that that cows are fully conscious when they're hung upside down and have their throat slit, for example. So we do things like, release investigations that show the routine cruelty of the meat industry. And it's been really successful. In 2019, there's so many vegan options available at any major grocery store. Tons of chain restaurants have vegan options, from Chipotle with their Sofritas to A&W with their Beyond Burgers.
Animals are used by various industries to do experiments as well. So what programs do you have to get your message across to those people, to those big companies?
So we work behind the scenes with companies to get them to stop testing on animals, and we work in front of the public as well. I've been very active in our campaign to end animal experimentation at Texas A&M University in the United States, where they've had a muscular dystrophy dog lab for over 35 years. They intentionally breed golden retrievers to have muscular dystrophy and perform experiments on them, but after decades of research, they still have no cure or even a treatment to alleviate the symptoms of muscular dystrophy.
We'd just like to share some videos from your organization with our viewers. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਨਵਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪੀਟਾ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਣ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. So you've been with this organization for quite a while now. Which countries in the world do you think the animals are more cruelty done on animals?
That's hard to say, because every country in the world exploits animals. Here in the States, although we seemingly have a lot of laws to protect animals, like I said, they're poorly enforced. So other countries might not have those laws, and the animals are being abused in public with no, smokescreen hiding it. But that doesn't mean that it's not happening here just as much.
If someone notices any cruelty happening on animal, be it in Canada, States, or anywhere, how can they contact you and what will you do?
So our main website is peta.org. We do have international affiliates all over the place. PetaIndia.com is one way to get in touch with PETA India. But we have people manning pagers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you ever see cruelty to animals or see an animal in a desperate situation, I've called our pager when I was driving on the side of the road and saw a deer stuck in a fence. So it doesn't have to be someone kicking a dog or anything in that specific moment. But you can contact Peta at any time, and we will work with local animal control or wildlife rescues and other groups like that to make sure that the situation is taken care of.
If someone wants to get affiliated with your organization, they want to volunteer, what kind of programs do you have that they can put their efforts into?
You can sign up to be a member of Peta's action team at peta.org/action team. So you'll get alerts whenever there's going to be a protest in your area or any kind of action opportunity, whether it's calling Canada Goose to encourage them to drop fur or calling a store to make sure that they don't use glue traps that trap animals.
So do you have any message for Canada Goose users?
We encourage people to unzip their fur from their jackets, donate it to an animal sanctuary or shelter so it can be used to nurture orphaned animals. And you can call the Canada Goose customer service and let them know that you're horrified that they're continuing to kill animals, that they don't care that coyotes are suffering in traps, languishing for days before being killed violently and skinned.
Any message for our viewers? The stage is all yours.
Please visit peta.org to see how wearing, eating, and living vegan is the best way that you can help animals.
Thank you, Katrina. Thanks for coming to our studio.
Thank you so much.
So ਇਹ ਸਨ ਕੈਟਰੀਨਾ ਪੀਟਾ ਤੋਂ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪਸੰਦ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲਿਖ ਭੇਜਣਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮੈਸੇजेस ਦੀ ਉਡੀਕ ਰਹੇਗੀ। ਹੁਣ ਦਿਓ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹੋ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ।